Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome in. Just give me a few moments here to get things set up. I am late, and I apologize, but yeah, let's get things started here in a little bit. It's been an odd Monday, but nonetheless, it's Monday, and we are back. So what's up? What's going on, everyone? Um, there we go. Get things started. Um, yeah. So this morning, a little bit of a tech talk, but we are talking Apple Intelligence. I am seeing a lot of discussions about this, and so we're just going to kind of break it down and how much of Apple Intelligence is coming out on the 28th, which is a release date of Apple Intelligence with iOS 18.1. So 18.1 will come out of public beta and be full-fledged, and that will be available on iPhone starting on October 28th. So we'll be expecting that. What up, B-Tech? Aside from that, we'll dabble in on some other stuff here too, eSim talks and everything like that. Listening as you drive to work. Be careful on that drive to work. There's always a replay too if you need to. So anyways, shout out to everyone that came in last night to help me test out the new mic. I appreciate it. And yeah, so it sounds like that we're good to go on audio now. I still have my other microphone as a backup, but it is what it is. Anyways, how are you guys doing? As you're coming in, please smash the like button. I would deeply appreciate that. I mean, that's like one of the things that for sure definitely helps out. I'm like really kind of waking myself up. Literally, I just woke up like 10 minutes ago. Doing those side hustles. Amazon Flex is the reason why we did an order this morning. It was like from 3:45 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. and while my kids are getting ready to go back to school from fall break, so there was like a lot of things had to get done yesterday, and then I finally went to sleep around midnight. Ended up waking up at 3 in the morning, head out to Tolleson. Please excuse my dogs and their barking. But head out to Tolleson, Arizona, to where the warehouse is. Picked up the order, and went from there. Got back. We got done early. We normally get done like about an hour to half an hour before our actual time is up. So we headed straight back here and went straight back to sleep. And I know my wife woke me up before she left to go to work. So I was just like, I don't even remember. I just remember telling her that I love her and drive safe to work and everything. And then I grabbed my phone and I checked a couple of things on X. And then all of a sudden, it was like a snap of a finger, blink of an eye. It was 11:31 in the morning. And I'm just like, whoa, I fell asleep. And I had a podcast at 11. So I'm like half an hour late to it. So we'll get into it. I'm just buying some time to let people get notifications that I am live. So, welcome in to all that's in right now. Appreciate it. Like I said, smash the like button. It does help out. And if you don't have Helium mobile service and you're interested in trying them out, use the QR code, and you will get your first month for free. Takes off $20 off your the payment to start up. Just use my promo code at checkout. Place my code where it says promo or apply promo, and you'll be good to go on that. Yeah, and share this on your favorite social platforms. That would definitely help out. I'm gonna drop the QR code for now. And all right, so everyone else can just catch up with this on the replay, but we'll kind of get into it. So there's a lot of advertisement on different streaming services, right? Like Hulu and such, and it's all surrounded around the iPhone 16, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and Apple Intelligence. But there's a lot of pushback from people when it comes to the new iPhone 16s and the sudden push on Apple Intelligence, only because Apple Intelligence is not here yet. Okay, for those that don't know, Apple Intelligence is going to arrive with the first software update, which is iOS 18.1, which I have 18.1 beta 3 on my iPhone 12. And none of the smart features are on that version, but it's public beta, so I don't expect it to be like with every iPhone. The iPhone 12 being the low man on the totem pole when it comes to devices that's going to be like fully supported by Apple, like for years and years going forward. The iPhone 12 is reaching its end of lifespan. I think it may have maybe like one or two major software updates left in it, and maybe the rest is just going to be a continuation on that, right? So we're talking possibly maybe like getting a iOS 19 and maybe life stopping at iOS 20, and it just getting like progressive iOS 20 point whatever, 20.1, 20.2, 20.3, you guys get the point, of updates, and that's pretty much like about it. That's what Apple has done it with a lot of iPhones over the past. Like they will continue to support specific ones, maybe not with the newest iOS, but continuation of the current version of iOS that's on, but bridging it out. I think my iPhone 10 got an update maybe like I think it was like 2 months ago for like iOS 15.7 point something, or maybe 0.8. I forget. I totally forget, but I mean it still got a software update. And that's something that why there are those that are fans of iPhones specifically get all uppity about when they want to have these iOS versus Android wars. One of the things they really kind of talk about is support for a device, like software support and everything like that for a device that's continued on. Apple's pretty good with that. So yeah. Anyways, I don't know why I went on a whole tangent about the iPhone 12 and just like how long it's going to be supported. But as the point that I'm making on all of that is the iPhone 12 does not share any of these new updates just yet. So I pulled up the site that we'll take a look at here, and I'll put the link in the chat. You guys want to watch it, like read it at your own time, your own leisure, that's totally fine. You can always come back to it for reference. But there it is. There is a chat link. And this is from tomsguide.com. And yeah, so it says iOS 18.1 is coming this month, but what about the rest of the promised Apple Intelligence features? Okay, so we get this whole thing that iOS 18's in public beta, but iOS 18.1, well, let me clarify that. iOS 18.1 is in public beta, and it will come out of public beta on October 28th, 2024 is when that wave of software updates should come out. But here we have the actual Apple Intelligence release timeline. And this is what's getting some pushback from those out there that are kind of upset in the fact that all the smart intelligent features of Apple Intelligence is not present and will not be present on October 28th. So I would say majority of some of the ones that people are well aware of for Apple Intelligence will be on October 28th when the iOS 18.1 comes out. And so for those features, namely October 28th, coming out of public beta, Apple Intelligence features will include Cleanup, which is, Apple's version of Magic Eraser, notifications and app summaries, where it will summarize in your notifications, cleaning up the notifications when you swipe down. So that's good. Suggested replies, you'll start seeing that in messages and other apps, other services. Proofreading and rewriting tools, people tend to use that. I mean, that's what some people use Gemini for. I've used it in Gmail, and it's nice to have. I'm not talking about theirs. I'm talking about Gemini. But it works in taking your words and kind of just changing it into like a more professional sounding email when you're dealing with business. Anyhow, so you got phone call recording and transcriptions. New focus mode, so when you need to focus on things, your iPhone is smart enough to literally like intercept non-important notifications and things like that, to help you stay on task. That way you're not taken away from what you're doing. Create memories, movie based on description. Those will be available from Apple Intelligence starting October 28th. What will come later on is on iOS 18.2, which is slated for a December 2024 release. You'll get Genmoji and Image Playground. So you'll get those things with Apple Intelligence on December of 2024. iOS 18.3, which will be before the end of 2024. So I don't know why they say that. They say December 2024 also. But there'll be minor updates to those features. And then iOS 18.4, slated for a March 2025 release. Overhauled Siri Assistant with better contextual and personalized responses. So this is the whole Siri thing is one of the major points of Apple Intelligence that Apple users are looking forward to, and they're not even getting it this month. So the iPhone 16s, we had the event in September. We had the unveiling of all the different models. We've had the models already released for pre-order. Now people are just getting, their iPhone 16s and doing their unboxings. So, we're still in the honeymoon phase of the iPhone 16s. And, the advertisements from companies like Cricket and companies, that are like pushing for the iPhone 16s, that they have them in stock and for sale. And you have a lot of pushback, like I said, because there's people that's like, most of the important Apple Intelligence is not available at this time. What was it? Like the iPhone 16s and the iPhone 15s, I believe, have Siri where the edges glow. But a lot of the other things, the overhauled Siri Assistant with the contextual and personalized responses, like that's not there yet. There are those that in beta are able to beta test where Siri has a more human-like, speech and voice rather than the robotic that everyone calls it. I mean, I didn't think Siri was that robotic sounding, but a lot of people did at one point. So, yeah. So that is the timeline release of Apple Intelligence, which is, my thing. I could play devil's advocate. Oh, fuck it. I'll play devil's advocate here. So I get both sides of it, right? I do understand the end users, and I do understand Apple. Okay. Now, from my gatherings and from what I understand from Apple, and whether you love Apple, okay, you might take offense to this. Don't go running off into the hills and screaming and everything like that. Okay, this is just totally my thought process on it. But I do feel like that Apple's late to the game with artificial intelligence. I do feel like that they didn't think that it was going to take off the way that it did when these things were announced for Samsung and was announced for Google. I think that Apple was just like kind of like in the shadows, lurking, waiting to see what the response from the end users were once Gemini was released, once Samsung's Galaxy AI was released. They were waiting to see like how fans pretty much, gravitated towards it. The hoodie's like kind of bothering me. Let me fix my headphones real quick. So yeah, basically, Apple was just more playing like the weight game when it came to that, and a huge response with Galaxy AI, and then with Gemini, you really saw a lot happen there. You saw a lot of people very interested in it. Even at one point when Google was like trying to bring Gemini Nano to the Google Pixel 8 Pro, but not to the Pixel 8. But then, the Galaxy S24, which was similar spec to the Google Pixel 8, was getting Gemini Nano. And so there was a lot of pushback with fan bases on that, and users that were very interested in Gemini and were just like, we're not having any of it. You put this on the phone, it can support it. And eventually they did, right? And the Pixel 8a has Gemini Nano on it, so it really showed Apple that AI was something that people were really interested in, and therefore Apple Intelligence was born. It was like Apple was already kind of working on it, but they weren't going full throttle. They were maybe taking it at like less than half speed. But it wasn't until like the release of Galaxy AI and Gemini Nano is when Apple's like, okay, people want this, so now we gotta put our foot on the throttle and get Apple Intelligence rolling. And I understand, the end users, they were like, what's the point of calling your stuff Apple Intelligence if you can't even get it out in time? Like, everyone's buying iPhone 16s, upgrading to their iPhone 16s, and they're not even getting the core features that they were most interested in. Cleanup, I believe that, there are Apple fans that obviously are gonna like maybe take to social media and talk about how much better Cleanup is compared to Magic Eraser. But the downside to it is, though, and like as an Apple user myself, because I have an iPhone 12 and I do use it, except for right now, I'm on a 4-day challenge of not using my iPhone or my Google Pixel at all. But I digress. Anyways, we may not have had Cleanup in iOS, but because I am a Google One subscriber, I do get Magic Eraser through the Google Photos app. So being able to take photos with the iPhone and then take out unwanted, like detractors from the photo, I've been able to do that with Google Photos and Magic Eraser. So the ability to do that isn't just coming now in the form of Cleanup, but Apple's own software being able to do that. That's what makes the difference in Cleanup. To some people, that's going to brag about it, but there are people who really don't care about Cleanup. That's not what they want. That's not the experience that they're looking for out of their new iPhone. The notifications and app summaries, while cool to have, definitely cool to have, there are some people that won't really notice the difference at all whatsoever. And I'm not trying to downplay all these things. I'm just saying what it is when it comes to the tech space. There are people that's not going to notice a major difference at all when it comes to notifications and app summaries. Those that are very, very heavy baked into the tech community and the tech space are going to notice it because they're going to be looking for it, and they're going to be looking to see some form of a difference or change. That's what, a lot of the geeks here on YouTube do. Those that watch, those that are like, they're not the everyday end users, they look for all the changes. They look for what's new. They look for all that stuff. And so they will be the ones to kind of spot it. But the everyday end user is not. They're not going to see a difference. The proofreading and rewriting tools, very helpful. Sorry, my chihuahua is just barking up a storm. I didn't see anybody walk by my window, so I don't know why she's barking. They're probably barking to my voice because they don't know where I'm at right now. And they probably hear me and everything. So let me have my daughter silence them. Anyways, yeah. So when it comes down to the proofreading and rewriting tools, some people are going to be into that and they'll find it helpful, but it's not going to be helpful for everyday things done on the iPhone. Phone call recording and transcripts, that's pretty nice to have, but again, it's not something that's a tool that's used every day by the everyday end user. And the new focus mode is going to be very helpful to people out there, allowing you to stay on task of what you're doing, especially if you're someone that's like a remote worker and works from home. You would it would serve you to have the focus mode on, so then that way it doesn't interrupt you while you're working. And then create memories with movies. I mean, we've had that on Google for a long time. So now, your Apple Photos app is going to intelligently create fun little video clips or little slideshows, and then it will notify you like, oh, this is a memory of this time in October, or this is a memory of your birthday, or this is a memory of your trip to Aruba or something. So you'll be getting those through Apple Photos or the Apple Photos app. But again, these are things that are going to be appreciated, liked, but they're not the core things of AI that Apple fans were waiting for. Okay, the overhauled Siri is one of the major ones that people are waiting for. I don't know about Genmoji because yes, I do use an iPhone on the side, but I mean, an updated, emoji, customized emoji, and those types of things aren't really the things that I'm superly interested in myself. So, but I mean, there might be those out there that were superly waiting for Genmoji, and so this is going to be, groundbreaking for them. But I think, Samsung already kind of has that with their AR zone. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But it's not one of the major big things that Apple fans were waiting for when it came down to Apple Intelligence release. So I understand the end user side of things saying not to call it Apple Intelligence if you can't intelligently get this rolled out day one, October 28th. I get it. And you know what, I mean, people are entitled to it. When you're spending over $1,000 for a phone, you expect all the things that were said about it to be present. And that's what the problem was. That is the absolute true problem when it comes to all of this. To be quite honest, the main problem was during the event when they unveiled the iPhone, when they showed it to the world, when they gave a release date for the 16, the 16 Plus, the 16 Pro, and the 16 Pro Max, they like Google and like Samsung, they all did the same thing. They were more in on AI than they were about the phone in itself. So they did talk about some of the hardware aspects of the iPhone 16. They did talk about some of the cameras, right? The camera features, right? And the new camera button that Apple so eloquently boasts. You could use it to take photos, you could use it to adjust certain things. Apple dropped the ball. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. What up, Bobby? What's going on, man? So with that, that's what really kind of hurt the iPhone 16 than actually do good. If Apple was a bit more transparent about letting people know the first features, the initial features, the more simpler features were going to be available in October, and the rest of the Apple Intelligence features were going to come in 2025. I think the fans would have been okay with that. because they have a time frame, right? Like, yes, there's websites that have a projected date for the remaining of the features of Apple Intelligence to come after the 28th of October. That still does no good, because a lot of people, not knowing when these features were going to come and assuming that they were going to come once Apple Intelligence was like fully ready, went ahead and upgraded to the iPhone 16, whatever model series that they got. And because they upgraded to the iPhone 16, they're like expecting for these features to start working. But even after knowing that iOS 18.1 will come out of public beta and be, fully available on October 28th, the core things that they were wanting out of Apple Intelligence won't be present in that update. And you won't see that until March of 2025. And that has people a little bit more pissed off, because right around the time that, the Siri Assistant, the overhauled Siri gets released in March of 2025, that's around the time that the Pixel 9a is going to be released. And who knows what additional things to Gemini Google has baking, and Google's going to have basically pushed with the Pixel 9a. So, Apple being late to the game. And as Random Culture said, Apple dropped the ball. And so this goes to show that, like, Apple sometimes needs to humble themselves when it comes down to these types of things. If you see like Google doing something and you see Samsung doing something, it doesn't mean that they're stupid for, starting right away. There's a reason that they're pushing AI now. There's a reason why they know that there's a lot of interest in it. They've slightly tested AI throughout the years, right? AI is not absolutely brand new currently at this time. When it comes to, smartphones and operating systems, we've had subtle AI injected into things that we were doing in the past. Google Assistant is a form of AI, slightly. It did that. We had Duplex, which is a smart system by Google, which allowed Google Assistant to basically make phone calls on your behalf, to do things like set a reservation to a restaurant, or book a haircut appointment, or book an appointment to get your car repaired. Like, you could do a lot with Duplex. I know not a lot of people knew about. Well, it's not that people didn't know about it; they didn't remember that it was there at their disposal to use, and so I don't think it was really used a lot by a lot of people. If you were somebody that used Duplex quite a bit, comment that you did. And share your experience in the comments if you're watching the replay. If you're on here watching live, go ahead and type in your experience and share it. Anyhow, so that's the big thing that's like hurting Apple. That's the big thing that's like hurting the iPhone 16. It's not a detrimental thing. It's not stopping people from going into, their stores and upgrading to the iPhone 16, but it is where a lot of the negative feedback is coming from. Because all the feedback that I'm seeing from the iPhone 16 basically has to do with Apple Intelligence and the features that are lacking. I'm not really seeing anyone complain about the camera button and that, they absolutely detest it or anything like that. I mean, there's people out there that's like, they wish that the camera button could be remapped for additional use besides camera. And who knows, maybe that's coming in like the iPhone 17 or the iPhone 18. Because I mean, for a long time we had the silent switch, and then, Apple switched that out for the action button. So they could actually add more purpose to that camera button as what it's known for right now, and then totally revamp the name if they decide to do that. If they don't decide to do that and they keep it as a camera button, then, it is what it is. So one of the big things about Apple and what Apple sorely lacked in, well, not sorely lacked in, but like a lot of people's, assumptions on Apple. A lot of people felt that Apple was going to go completely portless. We started seeing those rumors, and I want to say I started seeing those rumors way back in 2018, 2019. they gradually progress, especially with the change up from Touch ID to Face ID being the thing, and the notch, and then going forward, and started seeing actual image renders of an iPhone that was portless. It really kicked into high gear with the iPhone 14, with abandoning the physical SIM cards and going full eSIM on the iPhone 14. And then you start seeing even more image renders of the iPhone being portless. And I thought that was a cool thing. I thought having a cable with the magnetic end to connect to a point at the bottom of the iPhone to charge it up would be so cool and awesome. You know, it will be one of those things that I would hope that, you know, the Pixels would copy and Samsung would copy later on down the road. As a matter of fact, with portless phones that don't have a Type-C port or don't have, you know, a proprietary connector, you know, it's like 80% cool, because the only thing that I would be worried about is data transfer. How would you transfer data from like your PC or your Mac to your smartphone if you don't have a Type-C port or a proprietary port to connect a data transfer cable to, and, you know, be able to transfer all that info? Can info be transferred with a wire that has a magnetic tip and a device that has a full body rail? Because that's what it would have been my idea if I was Apple or Google, and I wanted to really kind of, you know, make a phone that's portless. Not only would I make it portless where like a magnetic tipped cord connects to it and charges it, but I would make it to where it didn't matter where on the side rail, the top rail, or the bottom rail of the phone. Didn't matter where the cable connected to. If it touched that metal, it would begin charging the device. But like I said, data transfer. Would you be able to offload photos that way? And that's up to the geniuses out there to come up with something and create something that's you know, mind-blowing. So I you know, it's open right now to discuss what are your guys' thoughts of Apple Intelligence at this time, not having all of its features rolled, and it's just going with some of the basic features. To me, I don't really have a problem with that. You know, if you guys really want to know my honest opinion, I don't. Like, it is a bummer. It's a bummer that, you know, we're not getting the overhauled Siri, but it's not detrimental where I will be like, no, I'm not using an iPhone. You know, because there are more things up, you know, to an iPhone than just these Apple Intelligence features. And I enjoy the experience on iOS. I do. I'm an Android guy. Force me into a corner to choose one or the other, it's going to be the Pixel and it's going to be Android that I rock with. But since I have the freedom to play around with any tech that I want to play around with, you know, iOS is pretty damn good. I enjoy it. There are some things it doesn't have that my Android has, but I have that experience on my daily driver device, which is an Android. Currently, right now, the Moto G Stylus 2024 is my main daily driver, and then the Samsung Galaxy A53 is my co-driver device. My Pixel 8a is put away, so it's a Pixel 7, and the iPhone 12 is put away as well. Because I'm actually using these smartphones and using smartphones that are not my normals. You see what kind of experience I have, and if I do suffer some sort of withdrawal, which, you know, there's a little bit of that, to be honest, to give people an update, because I'm on day 2. Yesterday was the first 24 hours completed. I'm working on my second 24 hours, which is today, and there are certain things that I'm trying to, like, you know, I feel like I want to grab one of my Pixels and just start using it again, but I'm holding off doing that. So yes, I am kind of feeling a little bit of a pinch of not having my Google Pixel. I was using my Google Pixel 7, and it's on Android 15 beta. There are certain things that, you know, it can do that, you know, the Moto G Stylus, you know, really is not all that up to snuff to do. It's not really a Pixel thing specifically, but it does have to do with the hardware. So I guess I wouldn't say that, like, you know, I am slightly triggered to grab my Pixel. I think I'm slightly triggered to grab a flagship device that has more capability, if that makes sense. if that makes sense to everybody. My Google Pixel 7 has a Tensor G2, and my Moto G Stylus 2024 has the Snapdragon 6 Gen 1. Well, obviously that'll give you some insight as to, you know, what's going on there. So I mean, that's pretty much what I'm like reaching for, and it happens when I'm editing video, because yes, for those who don't know, I record most of my videos with my smartphones, and I do the editing on my smartphones. I use YouTube Create and I use CapCut, which is very easy, very clean services to use to edit video, to make video a little bit more fun, or to, you know, at least inject certain things into the video. You're able to do that with these apps. With the Snapdragon 6 Gen 1, it kind of really lacks there, obviously, but I already knew that when I bought the Moto G Stylus 2024. I already knew that, you know, it was using a very mid-range chip, and so for that very reason, I already knew that it was going to kind of give me a little bit of problems when it came to editing video. Everything else that I do on it, whether I'm playing a light game, or if I'm like watching, you know, media, or if I'm going through social media, it's fine. It's pretty smooth. I mean, I just say like the only saving grace with the Moto G Stylus is the fact that it has 8 gigabytes of RAM. Because if it had 6 or 4, like the previous models did, oh my gosh, that would have been so painful. No, just, you know, trying to be honest about the whole thing. Anyways, yeah, so it's just more of wanting to use a flagship. And the reason why I'm not naming the iPhone is because the main app that I use to edit my videos is actually the YouTube Create app. A lot of the tools that it offers me, other sources like CapCut, require a subscription to be able to do that, right? Like on CapCut, if I want to drop background noise and have it solely focus on my voice in the video, I would have to buy the pro version of CapCut. They used to give it for free, but then now you have to subscribe to Pro to get it. With YouTube Create, it does that for free. The sad part is that the YouTube Create sometimes goes a little too far with the, you know, the audio adjustments or audio focus. Apple was shady pimping AI to push sales, knowing they were behind. AI is the new buzzword, like NFT was, to get customers hype. Yeah, obviously. I mean, that's why I said, like, you know, my little spiel about Apple was that they're probably waiting in the dark to see how popular AI is with Galaxy users and Pixel users, and then when they saw how popular it was, it's like, oh yeah, you know, we got to get on the ball, you know. So I figured they were already working on Apple Intelligence. They weren't in full throttle. They didn't have their foot on the gas all that much. Now it is. Now it's all gas, no brakes, and that's why the timeline release for Apple Intelligence is this. It's what we have. You know, with it being slated for a March 2025 full roll. I mean, you know. So yeah, anyways, yeah, just a quick update on, you know, if I'm having some, you know, residual effects about about not having the, you know, the Google Pixel or iPhone in hand. Anyways, last night we were kind of talking about eSim, and people were weighing out about eSim. Some say that, you know, it's real easy for them to switch devices. I made it clear that there were only certain carriers with eSim support that make that pretty easy. Yeah, Cook isn't Jobs. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Like Visible, for instance. Visible, you can easily change your eSIM from one device to another. Okay, so I'm not talking about activating eSIMs. I'm talking about device swaps that have to do with eSIM. That is like the whole major thing that I feel like, which is why I don't want to update from my iPhone 12 to anything newer. Like, I'll stay on my iPhone 12 until the wheels fall off. I said that yesterday. I said that once my iPhone 12 is pretty much what I consider to be obsolete, then and only then will I upgrade to an iPhone 13. But the iPhone 13, I'll be on that for as long as I can until Apple just won't let me be on it anymore. And the reason why is I'm not all in on just eSIM. with, with one of the carriers that I use, which by the way, I have a promo code in the description to get 1 month free to try them out. That is Helium Mobile. But with Helium Mobile, within the app, there's not a way in the app for you to do an eSIM swap. I can understand why they don't put one in there, and that's just because, with Helium Mobile, besides having phone service, you're also earning crypto if you have mapping turned on. So they got to make it a little harder for somebody to swipe your eSIM. And that's really what it is. That's what it boils down to. So I understand why they don't make it easy to swap eSIM from one device to another. Visible does it pretty easy. You log into your Visible app, you go to your main account info, you go down and click on your device, and then it gives you the options to get a physical SIM, or activate a brand new phone, or order a new phone, and you can switch. You can choose to switch your eSIM. You can re-download your eSIM profile if you accidentally deleted it, or you can swap it to a new device, and then you just follow the activation prompts, putting in the IMEI that it's requesting, making sure you're connected to Wi-Fi, and then they send you a one-time passcode or an OTP. You get that. Plug that in to authenticate who you are, so that way they can continue with the switch. They'll switch the device, then they'll have you begin downloading the eSIM and setup. Pretty easy on Visible. I would say the only problem with it, a little time consuming, right? Takes about 15 minutes to do an eSIM swap. They say on Boost Mobile it's pretty easy. I haven't tried it on Boost Mobile. But yeah, it'll still take maybe about 15 minutes to do, because even after with Boost Mobile that you get all the information inputted and everything, you still got to wait 5 to 10 minutes for the system to build you an eSIM profile before you can download it. And because of that very reason, for me, totally and in general, eSIM is a pain in the ass. With physical SIM, it's pop out, pop in. Take it out from one phone, put it in the other phone, working. The only company that gives you hell when it comes to a physical SIM is T-Mobile, and of course it's prepaid company Metro by T-Mobile. Those two require you to call in and have it done. Again, I can understand why T-Mobile and Metro do this with the security breaches in the company. Obviously leaves it to where T-Mobile needs to protect people's privacy and also protect people's SIM cards for having SIM swaps done and people's phone lines hijacked. Why would they hijack people's phones? Well, because they would try logging in to people's banking accounts to get that OTP and be able to fully log in and drain bank accounts. That's why they hijack SIM cards. So keep that in mind. So I will always be a big supporter of physical SIM. I know the whole pain points of physical SIM. I do know. I'm very well aware of that. Very well aware of that. I am aware of the fact that these SIM cards, physical SIM cards, can fry. I'm aware of that. Getting a physical SIM card sent out to me, yeah, it is a bit lengthy. It does take a little bit of time, but it's not a very frequent thing that happens. And to the end users that aren't tech reviewers on YouTube, right? This doesn't pertain to you guys, because you guys get a phone, it's activated with eSIM, and you're good. You're golden until your next upgrade, which could be a year to 2 years from that point. But like for the content creators that constantly switch devices, it is a pain in the ass. And so I need to clarify that point so people understand when I say on social media, I'm not a big fan of eSIM. Has nothing to do with eSIM's capabilities, has nothing to do with, having active service from a carrier on eSIM if I was a regular end user. But because I do use different devices, I have a bunch of phones on my desk right now. It is a pain to switch from one device to another with eSIM just for the sake of doing a video and maybe, showcasing a new feature or just doing an update review on said device. It is a pain to have to go and do that. And then, if I'm only using it temporarily, right? Like if I'm going from like my Pixel 8a to my Pixel 4 XL for a few days, it's like a pain in the ass to just switch to eSIM and have to re-download it on the Pixel 4 XL and then do the same thing when I'm going back to my Pixel 8a. Like once you download an eSIM, I honestly feel like that the system should recognize that eSIM specifically for that model phone. So if you want to go back to it, you don't need to re-download an eSIM. It's already on the device. It just needs to be set as the active live eSIM. But unfortunately, that's not how eSIMs work. So if, switching to my Pixel 4 XL, downloading a new eSIM, using it, and then going back to my Pixel 8a, I have to go in and erase the old eSIM profile to download a new eSIM profile and then have it services active. It's a lot. And eventually they'll probably make that a lot easier down the road in the future. Eventually they'll probably make that, more intuitive, more easy to do. Maybe even just what I said earlier as an example, allowing an eSIM profile to remain on the device and just, have the care rep switch it on as the active eSIM profile. And then, in the future of that, making it where it's easy to do that on the app. I mean, that's what I would say to that. Anyways, yeah, I'm gearing up to pretty much wrap it up right now when it comes to this podcast. If you guys that are just joining in didn't catch any of the whole, Apple Intelligence discussion, just, watch the replay. You'll get all my thoughts regarding that, including the release dates of each of the different release dates for certain features of Apple Intelligence. You'll know exactly when the full Apple Intelligence will roll out. So watch the replay on that. But anyways, yeah, I'm sorry again that I was late to getting the podcast started. I was tired. Okay, getting up and doing Amazon Flex with only 3 hours of sleep, coming back home, and then laying my head on the bed and just knocking out. Shows you guys, or tell you guys, not shows you, but I'll tell you guys just how tired I am. I think that's like one of the things I get worried about. Excuse me. I get worried about quite a bit is, just how I'm feeling lately. Like, 42 is not detrimentally old, right? I am 42 years old. I will be 43 next year. But I am worried about how my body is responding to things. And yeah, luckily there's good doctors out there that actually give a shit. Because I'm not trying to be pill dependent on my diabetes medication. Like, I am diabetic. I don't want to be dependent on these pills that most doctors will throw diabetics on. So, yeah, I'm probably getting back in on getting the shots done. I think it's like a shot I get like once a month or once every 2 months. And it's supposed to really help, with my glucose levels and everything like that, and bring down my A1C even lower than what it is. Like right now, my A1C, I got it as low as 9.7. But, a good A1C level for diabetics should be down to like in the 4s or 3s. Was it last year? My A1C was all the way up to 12. So that's pretty bad. So yeah, I was tired. I was getting rest. So I'm very sorry that I'm late again. But hopefully you guys understand. And the holidays are coming up too. So I am going to be doing a live stream this coming Wednesday. So I'll get that set up and I'll try to be on time for that one. And we're just going to discuss what tech are you guys interested in getting come the holiday season, because it's right around the corner. Halloween is in like 2 weeks. And then we got Thanksgiving next month. Well, we got Halloween, then we got Dia de los Muertos, we got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas, and we got the New Year. Man, 2024 went by really fast. So yeah, I hope to see you guys there for that podcast. Nothing is taboo when it comes to tech. If you're gaining to get a Pixel tablet, we can talk about it. If you're getting if you're getting a new iPhone, if you're getting a new Google Pixel, if you're getting a drone, a camera, whatever tech it is that you're excited to get for the holiday season, that you've waited all year for the holiday seasons to come, because that's when we get like some of the most dopest deals on tech. This Wednesday, we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to share with you my top 10 list of things that I would like to get for the holidays for myself. So I'll share my list with you guys. You guys can share your list. So if you need to write down a list, go ahead and take the next couple of days to do that, and let's share it on Wednesday. So we'll be talking about that, kind of like a free-for-all podcast, not really focused on any type of tech news, but just hanging out, chit-chatting, kicking the bucket, whatever you want to call it. And if you made it all the way to the end of this on the live, hashtag real1 to let me know that you watched it all the way through. If you catch the replay, hashtag replay crew to let me know that you watched the replay and made it all the way through. Again, my gift for you guys, just for coming to watch my videos and my podcast, right there in that QR code. Try out Helium Mobile. It's pretty awesome, especially if T-Mobile works great in your area, but they also have the Helium network, which is, peer-to-peer. So if T-Mobile's not available and that network is available, you'll be connected. Unlimited talk and text. And yeah, you can earn crypto just by mapping the network for Helium, which is a way of making a little bit of extra cash, a little side money, right? But yeah, you want to try them out. Right there, that QR code brings you to the website. That way you guys can get started on the sign up. In my description here, use my promo code, and that will get you your first month free. And for those that keep asking, why did I choose that promo code? I didn't choose that promo code. Nova did. So Nova Labs did. They wanted to partner with me. And so we went through the process of setting up that partnership, so that way I can give my viewers a free month of service to try them out. And then they hit me back with the email, and they're like, "Oh, your promo code is this." And I'm like, "Oh my God, you guys used my first name." They could have used Aloha. They could have used Aloha Android. They used my first name. So, and I'm not going to complain to them about it. You know what I mean? Because that's the important part is not the promo code in itself of what the promo code is, the word that's used. It's what the code does for you guys. That's the most important part. And so that's all that matters, is that you guys get your first month for free. So use my promo code, it's in the description. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Be on the lookout for more videos coming your way. But until then, I'll talk to you on the next one. As always, aloha.